Shalom, my sweetest friends. Hope you're having a beautiful day. I want to continue from yesterday with another story about the impossible making it possible. So, elephants, what do we know about them? We know that they're extremely intelligent, smart, and long lasting memories. So, one guy goes to a circus one day and he says to the circus manager, "Hey, what's going on there? How do you keep these elephants, tied with this little rope, a dinky rope? How can they do it? They could easily pull it out of the ground. Why don't they do that?" He goes, because when they were younger, we taught them that they can't break free. He said, "How did you do that?" He said, "Well, you tied a big rope around their neck, tied it around a pole, and then they yanked and they yanked and they yanked and they couldn't get loose. So what did they learn? They learned to submit. They gave up. They know that whenever that's around their neck, they're not going anywhere. So even when they're now 2 tons, they're still not going to even try. And so that's why they'll stay where they are." So I think it's around the 1980s again, where there was a Barnum and Bailey circus. What happens? There was a fire in the circus. Many of the animals fled the tents, but who do you think didn't leave? Well, there were animals that were caught in cages that couldn't get out, but all of the elephants escaped. Now you would say, how? They knew that they couldn't get free from that pole. But when their life was threatened, all of a sudden they just yanked that little thing out and they took off. Well, a few days later, they tried to tie him back up and they realized, hey, these elephants, they won't be tied up anymore. And they said they learned. Barnum and Bailey Circus had to get a brand new fleet of elephants because those elephants would no longer be tied by that small string. So my question to you today is this: what have you learned in your life? What have you experienced in your life that said, I'm tied to that rope. It's impossible for me to do this. I can't go any further. What have you learned that maybe, just maybe, now that you're a little bit older, a little bit wiser, a little bit more of a person than you were when you were a kid, what can you do today that you couldn't do back then? What do you need to relearn? What do you need to do that will allow you to see, I'm not a little elephant anymore. I'm not a little child. I'm now a grown adult, and it's time for me to take the risks and take the chances so that I can be and do the impossible. I thought it was impossible, but maybe now it's possible. So what do you need to do? What steps do you need to take today to really allow yourself to go forward and become the person you want to become? Do the impossible. Have a beautiful day. Take care of yourselves and take care of others.